The reason why it feels so difficult, most likely why it feels most so difficult for you to make friends if you're in your 20s or 30s is because you still think that we're all in high school or college or even elementary school, where making friends is just a byproduct of our life. When we're kids, we're in school every day. Maybe we have after school activities. Maybe we did plays. Maybe we did sports. And because we were constantly surrounded by socialization that had a purpose, but it didn't take up all of our life, friends were just a byproduct of moving around and living our day to day. Now we work, we have errands, we have family obligations, all these different things. And so it's very difficult to pick up a social engagement or a social friend, um, just sort of moving through life because there's so many other parts of life that are just sucking our energy, our time, and attention. And so in our 20s and 30s, if you live in a major city and you're working in all these things, something that you really have to get comfortable with, used to, and just accept is that you're going to have to be an initiator. And what's really great about being an initiator, especially in this climate, this friendship crisis, some people are calling it. I'm not sure if I quite would go that far, but how you would uh, sort of combat that is honestly just being an initiator. And the thing is, so many people are in a similar boat in their 20s and 30s where they don't know a lot of people. Maybe they have a couple of college friends, but that was in like their old city, not where they live now. Maybe they have a couple people in their city, but everyone is so busy that if you only know a couple of people, there are many days where you just don't have a lot of social engagement. And so when I moved to San Francisco almost 7 years ago now, how I was able to, push past this and make a very large friend circle really quickly was just I got over any compunctions I had around reaching out to people that I thought were interesting or cool, or, if I had a great conversation with someone in some sort of situation, I would just say, "Oh, you were so cool. I would love to hang out again." I'm free for coffee most lunchtimes or most evenings or whatever it might be. So that's how I did it. And I'm going to go into some specific ways that you can do this in a way that honestly is not very awkward or cringe. It might feel a little uncomfortable if you haven't done something like this before, but believe me, it's not weird. It's a bigger in your mind than it is in other people's minds. And because of the social climate we live in now, most people are not initiators. Most people are fairly passive in their social life and are hungry for someone to notice them, befriend them, talk to them, like all these sort of things. And so if you become that person, you can build a friend network super quickly. And once you've done that, then you can be a person that connects individuals that you meet to new people. So now you actually enter into a position of social leadership again very quickly because most people aren't doing this. So I'll share with you a couple different ways you can initiate that doesn't feel cringe, that doesn't feel awkward, um, and we'll just go from there. The first, if you have any sort of social media, and I mean like LinkedIn or Instagram or Twitter, like any of these sort of things, even if you're social media light, most people at least have a LinkedIn. If there's someone who posts on LinkedIn that you notice, is like posting like really interesting things, or even if they don't post, but they work at a company that you think is really cool, or they're involved in an organization that you know and admire, whatever. Honestly, and I've done this before to great success. People are like super happy to talk 9 times out of 10, especially when they know you're not, looking for something out of them. I just reach out and share a message and say, "Hey, I notice you work at you volunteer with this organization. I think it's like really cool what they're doing. Would love to learn more. I'm also based in San Francisco or New York or whatever neighborhood that this person lives in. Would love to like grab a coffee at some point and talk about these things." Reach out to a couple people that you think are interesting, be sincere, be flattering, be transparent. Um, Something like what I just said, works perfectly. If you want to come up with a couple different phrases, honestly, just ask ChatGPT how you would phrase something like this, and just like ping people and just see kind of what happens. This is so low stakes because if they don't respond to you, maybe they didn't see it, maybe they did see it and then but liked it, but were lazy and didn't respond. Maybe they saw it, thought it was weird and didn't want to respond at all. If that's the case, if that last one is the case, they will literally forget your name, your face, and who you are. Like, no one remembers that sort of thing. Everyone has a really big, full life. If an No one is thinking about you that hard. So better to just go for it and go out there. And so that's one way you can be an initiator. Another way you can be an initiator is, let's say you know someone tangentially. Maybe you work together, but you work in the same city. Maybe let's see, you go to the same fitness class, and you've had a couple like nice little passing conversations here and there. I want you to just say, "Oh, hey," to go up and say, "Hey, I'm doing this thing this weekend," or loved talking to you a little bit, but would love to like get to know you a little bit better. Do you have time on this day to hang out?" That's another really easy way to start building to just be an initiator in a way that feels like casual and very light. So again, a work colleague, someone go to the same fitness class with. This is someone that you've had a couple of light acquaintance type touches with effectively. So it's not coming in cold. And a lot of these things, they don't have to be, you're talking to a stranger on the street and then they become your best friends. No. There are a lot of people in your life that potentially could become friends, but you've just so put them in the box of acquaintance, small, minor. Um, on the periphery of your life that you're not seeing them as this possibility for a great friendship. So you would go up to them and say something like, uh, "Hey, would love to get to know you a bit better," um, or even like just be straight up and say like, "Hey, I'm new to the city," or I'm rebuilding my social network. You seem really cool. Would love to hang out if you're interested." So that's another way. A third way could be to actively ask someone to introduce you to like other people. So, like, let's say you have a friend already, and they're a good friend and they know a lot of people, or even if they don't know a lot of people, just ask them like, "Hey, um, the two of us, like, we really connect over." Basketball and sports and all these things. I'm looking for like more female friends who are into sports. Do you know anyone? And then they might say, "Oh, yeah, my friend Trisha or my friend, Jasleen," like, whatever it might be, and then they can connect you with other people. Friends and warm introductions are the easiest way to meet more people. And with this, I would be super liberal. I would, talk to basically any current friend that you have, whether they're based in your city or even if they don't, you can ask someone who doesn't live in your city, but, they may know people who live in your city that kind of fit a good description. So that's a third way. Fourth way could be, maybe you are and this one might be, depending on how, uh, uncomfortable you are talking to strangers, this might be a little bit of an early stretch, but I really encourage you to try. Um, I have done all of these things to great success. It's rare. I can maybe think of 2 times out of the hundreds I've, like, done these little, like, initiation things where I felt like someone, like, kinda wasn't interested. Overall, people are super excited to meet new people, are super happy that someone else is taking the first plunge, and, you actually kind of end up positioning yourself a little bit as a leader because you're the one that kinda reaches out first and is willing to take a little bit of that plunge. Another way could be if you say you're at a social event where you don't really know many people and you strike up a conversation with someone at the food line or on the dance floor or outside or whatever it might be. Um, and I'll probably have create another video later on about how to start a conversation in those types of situations. It's really not that hard, especially if it's the sort of event where um, most people don't know other people. Like it's the kind of place that people are looking to talk to others, so it's really not that scary. Um, But let's say you've struck up a conversation with a stranger at a social event or at a meetup or a book signing, whatever it might be. Then you say, "Oh, this conversation was so fun. I would love to continue to hang out. What's your number?" That's it. And like 9 times out of 10, they'll just say yes, like, "Oh, totally." If that feels a little bit too direct for you, you can also say, "Oh, love this conversation. You're so fun. Would love to hang out again. Do you want to connect?" That's maybe a little bit lighter. And then they can sort of decide. And then it can be, um, they'll either like ask for your number, you can ask for theirs. Maybe you exchange Instagrams if you have social media. Um, uh, so yeah, that's another way. And when you do that and you connect with this person at this social event, the next day, and I mean this literally the next day, I want you to text them and say, "Hey, super cool meeting you at that thing. I'm free on this date for uh, tea or coffee or a dinner thing or whatever. If you're free, would love to see you. If you're free, would love to hang out." Simple. A big part of being an initiator and making friends, and I'll create a separate video about this as well, is that you need to build social momentum. I think this is what kills a lot of people when they're building their friend networks, is that they go out, they have a good time, they meet some people, and then they kind of do nothing and kind of end up where they started. A big part of building a friendship network is building that momentum of, I met this person, we hung out again, and then we hung out again, and then we hung out again. And then you don't have to hang out for a long time, but you're still sort of cemented in their minds as like at least an early entry level friend. I'll have a whole other video on building social momentum because actually a really exact way that you can do this with pretty much every stranger that you meet, and you can literally turn a stranger into like a good friend that's like blossoming into a whole like back and forth in like 3 weeks. It's like very simple. If you want to learn the full step-by-step system on how to do this, down in the description box, I have a link to my network social system 30-day challenge where I take you from literally zero, no friends, you know no one. Maybe you're new to the city. Maybe you've always sort of struggled with making friends. And in 30 days, I help you build a full social network where you have people to hang out with, you have things that you like to do, and then you have invites actually coming into you. A great thing about being an early initiator is that this is not something you have to do all the time. Once you put yourself out there for a certain period of time, you end up meeting enough people that they start inviting you, and your social life sort of gets a life of its own, where you're invited to things, you go to things, you invite other people to things. There are things that you like to go to regularly, and you really build that vibrant social life with a lot less effort that it takes sort of in the beginning when you're starting from zero. So, those are some simple ways to be an initiator, and that is what you want to be in the beginning, especially in this climate where people are maybe, depending on where you live, a bit more um, uh, not engaging with their social life. And the people that do these things that are engaging, they totally they they can create social networks and communities and environments really quickly because so few people are doing this and people are begging for people to do this. So, hope this helps. Again, if you want to learn the full 30-day system where I take you from zero to a very vibrant social network, pretty much guaranteed, using the power of real social networking, warm introductions, and easy communication styles, click below with the link. We launch April 15th. There is a discount code Fast Friends listed down below for 33% off until our launch date on April 15th, and then prices go up.